welcome to episode 4 of the next Starship, which I should probably rename because it's impossible to find on YouTube besides all the next great Starship episodes. I don't know. Anyway, in the last 3 episodes, I spent time drawing and sketching a few different ideas for my own ship for the Star Citizen universe. And in the last one specifically, I spent some thoughts on improving the concept and making it long range and lore. Today I'm finally bringing these sketches into 3D. Before I begin, I thought it might be a good idea to finally bring some structure into this series and show my plans, or my roadmap if you will, for future episodes. If you do know how 3D modeling and the general design process works, feel free to skip this chapter. My personal approach to spaceship design is to start with outlines and find an interesting shape. Did that in episode 1. Next I tried to bring some perspective into these outlines and see if that idea still holds up. I have done that for one group of my outlines in episode 2 and 3 and will probably do it for some of the others later. Next, today I will build a very rough 3D model. Rough because this will not be a clean mesh you would need for a game engine. This is still for concepting. I will just try to replicate my sketches in 3D. If that works and looks okay, I will do scale tests. So in this case I will put mine in a scene with other Star Citizen ships. Make sure that the cockpit and general scale is right, and will use a VR headset for that, because it will give me a feel for size and scale that is hard to achieve on a 2D screen. It will also show me better which areas lack detail and where I have to improve my 3D concept. And when that is done and I'm happy with the shape and form of my model, I will create a simple rendering and paint over that, creating the final 2D artwork. And with that a sheet with all the ship information on abstract. And at that point I would have a finished concept. Again, I might do these steps for some of my other outlines, unless I have a concept I'm really happy with. And only after that I would start the actual production, and cause that is quite a bit in the future, I will just go over it quickly. I will then start to model the clean version of the ship, texture it, rig it, so make the parts movable that are supposed to move, like the wings or guns, and then light and shade it, so define the surface properties of everything and make it look real and give it some lights. Unfortunately, all these steps take long and build on each other, so to get a bit of variety into these episodes, there's one thing I can do parallel. Building the interior, which will take the same steps as the outside hull, but it will also be interesting to build a believable cockpit. I think placing all the buttons and screens will also be fun using VR. And then there's also the HUD to design, which of course will be similar to existing ships, but I want a few more dedicated displays than just the MFDs, a bit less digital and more like Wing Commander or X-Wing did their cockpits. And once all that is done, I have a nice 3D model and can make a short animated ship commercial video. But that is quite far in the future, so let's go make some progress. The software I will be using is Blender. It is not my first choice. I have most of my experience in 3ds Max, which is one of the software packages CIG uses. And that makes a lot of sense historically, because it was the main 3D package to be supported by CryEngine, which Star Citizen's engine is based on. But since Blender has been getting so much praise lately, and because Macs sometimes feel like the 30-year-old software it is by now, I'll give Blender a chance and have Max as a backup should I run into problems. But so far I'm quite happy. This is a time-lapse of about an evening of work, and while it took me about twice as long as in an environment I would know, and a lot of it still feels unfamiliar, I got it done in the end. Now I need to reiterate that this is just a concept model to get the scale working, with no effort put into topology. Instead, I separated the whole model into separate objects for every part that I might need to adjust in scale, or in case of, for example, the cockpit can easily change into something completely different later. But let's take a closer look now. Overall, I'm happy with it, but far from done. It looks good, but it does not look Star Citizen enough yet. First off, I got a lot of comments on Reddit that it looks like a mix between a Banu Defender and a Vandal Blade, which I see, but was not what I was going for, so I'll work on that. The most obvious part are the front wings, I guess. They reflect the concept well, and I still like the general shape, but it lacks detail and needs to be integrated with the back half better. And it does not look as aerodynamic as I would like it to. The biggest issue for me right now is the middle part, that still looks very basic and very primitive. The sides were supposed to be entrance ladders at some point, but I'll see in the coming scale test if that makes sense. The cockpit needs to change a lot. This does not look like a real manufactured part yet. I only like the top view, and even from there it's still missing struts. What I do like most is the part behind the cockpit. I think the middle and the two intakes flow nicely together. They remind me of the Gladius without looking like one. And again, I have to check the scale. I like how the top looks organized and sleek, and the bottom has all the engines and there will be more pipes and such. I like the static wings and also the foldable ones for the atmospheric flight. At least from the back and from the side. From the top they do break the speedy look a bit. But speaking about specific side views, I think the top and with that the bottom are okay. But I don't like it as much as on the 2D concept yet. It's neither as iconic or detailed as I would like it to be. The front view is okay, but the weakest angle in my opinion. I like how flat it is. This right now would be quite hard to hit from front or back, but I'm not happy yet. What I do like is the side view. It looks dynamic. I like how the side is layered. Only the cockpit seems a bit unprotected right now. But what I'm most happy with is the back view. I can't really say why, but I like it and I would love to fly it. And I think that's a good point to call it an episode. I have a solid base model now that I can put against some other Star Citizen ships next episode to figure out the scale and then improve on the issues I just talked about. The middle, the cockpit and the wings first, probably. And I hope I can gather some more feedback until then. So with that, see you in the verse.